As part of our preparation for parents who are having their child baptized, I meet with them in their homes. And there we're able to have a conversation. We talk about the joys and struggles of the first years of marriage, the joys and struggles of the first weeks of parenthood, any God moments that they've been having during this time. And almost always, we come around to the wonder that they feel. Holding that 4-week, 8-week-old child in their arms, the wonder that God allowed us to create with Him. And almost always, we come around to the responsibility they feel. Holding the child in their hands, realizing that this gift involves responsibility, involves obligation. This obligation is beyond me. This obligation is beyond my power. We've all had similar experiences, confronted with great responsibility and realizing that this is beyond me. This is beyond my power. Whether it be our personal vocations of marriage, holy orders, religious life, wherever we find ourselves, our work, our mission to build up our local communities, confronted by those responsibilities, those obligations, we sigh, this is beyond me, beyond my power. Today, our Bishop Dought responds to that experience with the person of Saint Joseph. If there's anybody who, confronted by responsibility, sighed and said, "This is beyond me, this is beyond my power," it was Saint Joseph, spouse of the Blessed Virgin Mary, foster father of the child Jesus. This is beyond me. This is beyond my power. God calls us to stuff that's beyond us. And today St. Joseph offers us his friendship and his witness. So let's dig into our gospel and see what solace there is for us in the person of St. Joseph. Let's start with the question, why does St. Joseph choose to divorce Mary? Well, there are two theories. The one we're most familiar with is called the suspicion theory. Joseph suspects Mary of infidelity, so he chooses to divorce her quietly. There's another one. And many fathers of the church, many theologians find this one a lot more persuasive. How does the humility theory go? Well, Joseph knows Mary quite well. They're betrothed to each other. So he knows her. He knows her holiness. Mary has shared with him her unique consecration to God. Church tradition holds that from a very young age, Mary offers her entire heart to God, offers her body entirely to God. And so Mary shares that with Joseph, and Joseph receives her in marriage, all the while knowing that our marriage is going to be different, that our marriage is going to be virginal. Joseph says yes to that. At one point in their life, an angel breaks in, but he only appears to Mary. Joseph is kept in the dark. He tells Mary, "You will be the mother of God. You will bear the Messiah." Immediately after that, Mary makes a trip to visit Elizabeth. She's there for 3 months, and she comes back, and she's very clearly pregnant. What does Joseph think? Joseph, who is a righteous man, who is very familiar with scriptures and prophecy, Joseph, who knows Mary so well, knowing that she is not capable of infidelity, he remembers the prophecy of Isaiah. The virgin shall conceive and bear a son. Joseph doesn't suspect her of infidelity. He realizes that God is doing something special in her. That God is taking her to himself. And he prepares to step aside. She is yours, God. She belongs to you. I'm not worthy of her. I'm not worthy of her child. I'm not you're carrying out in her. And as Joseph prepares to step aside, what happens? The angel breaks in again. And what does the angel say? Do not be afraid. You, Joseph, are to play a part in the coming of the Messiah. And what does Joseph do? He obeys. He knows his unworthiness. And yet, at God's command, he accepts a calling, a vocation that is beyond him. To name God's Son, to care for the immaculate one, to care for the incarnate one. Our vocations too are beyond us. Whether that be marriage or holy orders or consecrated life, wherever we find ourselves living our vocations, carrying out our vocations, is something that is beyond us, beyond our power. That's what the parents of the newborns know so well. That's the truth of our vocations. And today God comes to us and says what he said many years ago to Joseph: do not be afraid. What does this mean practically? Well, we need to preserve that insight. With a 4-week, 8-week-old baby in your hands, you know it well. But over the years, the daily challenge is to preserve that insight, the insight that my couples have, my families have. Where do we do that but in prayer? In prayer, confessing our weakness. In prayer, confessing our neediness. Coming before the Lord and saying, Lord, direct my vocation. Be the beginning, the middle, and end of my vocation. Carry my vocation, my mission to fulfillment, because it is beyond me. When personal prayer is absent from our lives, we forget that our vocations are something beyond us. We begin to give our children our stuff. We begin to give our spouse our stuff. We begin to give our parish our stuff rather than God's. That's what St. Joseph knew so well. I'm here to marry you, Lord. I'm here to give Christ you, Father. Imagine when we live our vocations like that, remembering that they are beyond us, beyond our power. When we stop giving our spouse, our children, our stuff, and start giving them God's stuff. When we stop giving our parish our stuff and start giving God's stuff, when we stop giving our neighborhood, our community, our stuff, and start giving it God's. That's what we do as we begin this year of St. Joseph. We ask him for his intercession, to be near to us as we strive to cherish that insight which he had many years ago.